Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and today it's about time to install VMware on my new Lenovo X3650 Model 4 over here that I've had for almost 2 months, maybe only a month and a half, but well, I've been waiting for processors, and you saw that video, that didn't go well, but well, now I want to try and install ESXi on the server with the old processors in it, and I have ordered new ones and they are kind of on the way. I've ordered them on Amazon in the United States and they didn't ship it to Denmark, so I had to call in a favor from Unky Joe's PlayHouse, who has been kind enough to say that he would pass these on to me. So I've sent the processors to him and he will ship them to me. It's a little bit more expensive, but well, the price was good. So, well, I want to install ESXi on the server here, and I want to install it on a USB stick. And I really wanted to install it on this one because it says Lenovo on the USB stick. This is a USB stick that I got at a fair. I was bucking Lenovo that I needed this, and I got one, and it's EMC on the other side, but it's a Lenovo on this side, so I was hoping that this side would be sticking out. So Lenovo fanboy, goddamn. But I did some testing. I recently, actually this week, I got this little box from China that I bought, and it's a USB 3. The blue connection is there. I really needed 2 of these, but I thought Chinese, they might have painted the plugs blue and it would not be USB 3, but it works with USB 3, so it's good. And I did a bit of testing, and unfortunately this USB stick is really slow. It's like transfer rate of 3 to 5 megabytes per second, and it was okay for what was on it. That was just some PDF files and stuff to promote Lenovo's hardware. But for booting the ESXi, I don't really want to wait for that. So I found that this USB stick, which is a 16 gigabyte that I bought, actually that was for experiment over these servers, the X3650 Model 1s. And I bought some tiny small USB sticks to put them on the back of the server and boot from these, and this did work. But the Model 1 M1 over here, it has USB 1.0 or 1.1, or that was really slow. It probably the same 5 megabytes per second or something like that. So I gave up on that idea because it took 20 minutes to boot the server. 20 minutes is a long time. So I tested it, and this USB stick was about 3 to 4 times faster than the Lenovo one here. So I'm gonna go with this one, and I do believe that it's a USB 2 connection inside of the server. So we do get some benefit of actually using a little bit faster USB stick inside the server. If it had had a USB stick 3.0, it would be able to transfer with I've seen up to about 90 megabytes per second. So but well, I haven't seen that from this. This is not as fast. So let's open up the server and see what I'm talking about in there, shall we? So here is the inside of the server, and the hypervisor USB stick is supposed to be sitting right over here. And if you put it in here, it will very conveniently say hypervisor USB stick inside the BIOS when you need to boot from it, and that's very convenient. Also down here, just outside of view, there is another USB internal thing right down there. That's actually for if you want to put in a tape drive in the server, so that also is available. I don't know if you can boot from it, but I would suppose that it's just a USB stick, so I guess so. I don't know if there is any more options available. I would have thought that a solution with a SD card would be really neat over here, but I haven't really seen that for this server. I really do like the SD card bootable options, so I'm a bit, well, I'm sad that Lenovo don't have that, because these USB sticks, that's one thing, but a good SD card, they're really cool. In some weird way, they're really cool. So we will take this USB stick. It is empty, or at least almost empty, and I'm gonna put it in there. Let's see, we have to open this and then put in the USB stick and close that again, and that locks it into place. When you do that, let's see, when it's down, it's unlocked like that. You can take out the USB stick and put it in again, and when you pull this up, it locks the USB stick so that it doesn't fall out. I don't know how it should do that, but well, it's kind of something extra they've come up with. So, well, installed one USB stick. Besides new processors for this server, I've also ordered a riser card to go over here, and I've ordered a riser card for a GPU. That means that the riser card over here will have one PCI Express X16 port, and I think there is a single X8 beneath that somewhere. But actually over here I have a riser card that has 3 X16 connections, but this one it doesn't supply the power to each of these X16 ports that a GPU riser card needs to provide. So you need the X16 slot to provide 75 watts for the GPU, and these over here, normally they're only 25 watts if you don't get the riser card that is meant to be used for GPUs. So that is coming from the US too. That has already been shipped. I could also have gone with this way of booting the server, putting in a PCI Express card like this and putting on M2, either probably the SSD version, the key B, which says up here, the NGFF, which it's more or less just a solid state drive but in stick version, like the M2 form factor, like that. I'm not sure this server can boot with the PCI Express version of the NGFF USB thing, but well, that's something that I hope to test somewhere along the way. But I really need to get some more of these first, and I do really want to try one of the expensive ones, one of the Samsung ones, the 960, the version of those. So that might be coming when I cough up the money to buy that. But the whole idea is that I want the server to boot from the USB stick so that it does not take up hard drive space on here, so that I can use the hard drive base for storage and not have the operating system on the hard drives. And I do want to try and draw this out for you, how that can be done. Over here I'm doing on the X3650 models 1, I just have one hard drive in there, and I had the operating system and storage on the same drive. And let's just I'll get a piece of paper and we'll see how that works. So when you're building a server like this, and this server is gonna be running ESXi probably 6.5 to end with, I think I'm gonna install 6.0 right now, because I haven't upgraded my vCenter yet, but well, that's gonna be a totally different video at some point. I've just added this to a DaveCAD drawing, totally copyrighted by EAV block, and you want to keep your options as open as possible when you do this. And that's also why I want to boot on a USB stick, because I could very easily boot on the hard drives in this server. I've mounted the hard drives here as 8 lines, and this could be 2 storage units like this. Over here I just have that one drive, and now that I don't have a USB stick in this server, what ESXi will do, it will create a tiny little area on the disk on the top here, and it will have the ESXi here, ESXi, on this little partition, and we are talking about 300 megabytes of a partition. So it's next to nothing. It takes up no space whatsoever compared to well, there's a 300 gigabyte drive in all of these servers, so it takes up about 1/1000th of the space on the disk to have the operating system and the hypervisor on there. And this works really great for what I'm using that for over there. Over here I'm thinking mostly about the power consumption, because these X3650s Model 1, they tend to use a lot of power, and each of the hard drives in there, that uses about 8 to 12 watts. So I wanted to do that, and that was also why I tried to use the USB stick before, because then I could reduce the power consumption in this server by another 10 to 12 watts, 8 to 12 watts, somewhat in that area. If you want to try out new stuff on this server, yeah, let's just mark this. This would be the datastore. The rest of the disk will be datastore for the VMs. So you would have like, well, 300 gigabytes, you could easily have 10 servers there. Now 10 servers, right? 10 VMs. Oh, I think this DaveCat program, sometimes it's a bit buggy, especially when you're recording. That's an M, right? So 10 VMs you could easily fit on here. Smaller ones, granted, but that means that you would have 10 virtual machines living in this area, and you would have your ESXi 6 point or 5 point something. But then when you want to upgrade to the next ESXi version, you have to be very careful only to upgrade this area of storage and your data store, not smashing that. That would be fairly simple when you only have like one drive in, like I have here. But if we're talking about an array of 5 drives, and 5 drives in RAID something, and there is 5 drives, and on top of that there is a little volume with 300 megabytes for the operating system, it starts to get a little bit complicated. Of course it's doable. You can upgrade it or you can change it out, but well, it's a little bit more dangerous to have this data store down here than when you have the data store separately. Like on this USB stick, you can have your VMs here, VMs there on, let's just say that that's 4 drive and that's 4 drives, and you have your VMs there. So if you want to do something like upgrade, you can actually take out the USB stick, or you can just upgrade the ESXi on the USB stick and not have to worry about what's going on over here, because it's a totally separate unit over here. And you can, if I want to change out all the drives here, move the VMs away and take out 4 disks here and put in another 4 disks, or this one probably, that would probably be the boot one. I could change out these 4 disks and don't have to worry about the ESXi operating system on there, because that's running on the USB stick. So this is very convenient to have the operating system running on something really small, really cheap. And more or less this is never used. The USB stick is used a little bit when you boot the server, like those 5 to 10 minutes when the server is booting up. The rest of the time this is not really used, and the operating system is, well, running from RAM and using the data store. So it's very similar to actually booting from a floppy drive back when we did that, except Now it is a lot faster than floppy drives. So, well, that's what I'm up to, and why I've chosen this way. It's to make it easy for me to move on to something else. And should I want to, I could put in another USB stick and test out ESXi 5.5 if I got some wish to do that, or if there is an ESXi 7.0 coming right around the corner, right? I could take out the USB stick, test that, find out that this is not ready for me yet, put in the old one, and nothing would have happened. So, well, I'm gonna go and put ESXi on my fine Lenovo USB stick. It's good enough for installation. I have loaded the USB stick with an ESXi 6.0 version 2 and put it in the server. And over here I have booted the server and pressed F12 for getting the boot options. And you can see that it's able to boot from all of the 4 network cards. Then it's able to boot from the internal USB hypervisor. That's the USB stick that we just popped in there. Then it can boot from USB 2, storage 1, USB port 1 front. I'm guessing that's the one we want. So let's try that one. And that works. It's gonna be installing ESXi from there. But let's go see what we could have done from the computer. I think most of you know this, but well, we might just go see it anyway. Okay, I've moved into the computer and I have opened up Lenovo X3650 Administrator. This is some really awesome software where you can control, mostly if you have a lot of Lenovo servers, but also if you just have one. And there is some really neat information on this overview. For example, it sees down here that I'm not using my server much, which is perfectly true. It has just been sitting there since I got it, and I'm upgrading it a little bit every weekend and making a video for you guys. So it's not doing much right now, must say. Using 26% of the RAM. Okay, never mind. Let's pick the server here. Data 1. And it gives me a list of my servers, and I only have that one server that is compatible with this, unfortunately. We can select that, go in here, we get some more information, more or less the same information as we get on the IMM adapter from the server itself. But if we have 150 servers, it's much easier to get it in here than have to log on to each server and do this. But I do want to log on to the server, and I can do that over here in Action and launch Management Module Interface right there. So we're gonna hit that. That's gonna open a new window and tell me that this is totally unsafe. And well, sometimes it is. And we can log in here. And the server is doing great. I really need to find a new name for it. I need to find out where to put it in the rack and give it, well, yeah, never mind. But right now we need to see what the server is doing. It's still booting from the USB. So we have this remote control. Remote control it's called, okay. And here we can see that for one thing it's running Java, and that's crap like hell. It can also use ActiveX, and we might try that to see if that will work for us today. But now I'm using a USB stick out there. I would also be able to use an ISO file from my computer here, and I did actually get the ISO file from the computer there. I have it here on the download there. That's the ISO file that we are installing out there right now, and I did make the bootable USB stick with this Rufus, and that is what's running right now. But I could go directly and mount the ISO file down here. Just browse that and select the ISO file on the download. That would be that one. Open that, and I could mount that. I can even do it on a web address. So if I had
address out on the dangerous internet that the files was located, I could just put that in and it would use it that way. But and I can mount the ISO file and I can boot from it from here, which I have shown in numbers of videos. So I thought that we should try something new, but I want to show you that it's still there. So we're gonna cancel that, but now we're gonna try this ActiveX client and start a remote session. See if that will run. Please be patient and don't close this window. Okay. I'll give it a little bit there. It wants to install a add-on. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. And we have to be some more patient. There. Oh, you can't see this. Yeah, it just cleared the screen and I had to press OK. The screen capturing program don't record that. So actually we get this now through ActiveX instead of Java, which is an awesome option to have also, instead of always relying on the Java thing. So now I can continue the installation. I've been a bit slow on this because I totally forgot the IP number for this server and I didn't really look that up before starting recording this. So, well, we can press enter and let it continue here. F11 for agreeing to the terms, which I don't seem to be able to read right now, but I'm sure. Oh, arrow. Oh, okay. The arrow keys. If you would just read that and get back to me in the comments if there is anything I have to be worried about, that would be awesome. Hope you have fast reader. That's too boring. F11. And now it's scanning for available devices that we can install this on. And well, we actually have a bit of a problem here. Oh, no, we don't. I didn't see the top one. That was the most obvious one, and I didn't see that. That's the two SSDs that I have in the server right now that I could install the operating system on. Then I have this Kingston DT Micro. That's the one that we are gonna be installing on. And then we have this USB disk. That is the one we are installing from. So we're gonna select this one and press enter. And it tells me that it's gonna be overwriting that. Oh, damn. Okay. We're gonna do that. And I'm gonna press my Danish keyboard and give this a password. There. It tells me that it's ready to install on the USB stick. Yeah. We're gonna continue and let it install. And this is boring, so we'll get back to that. So this is why it's really convenient to mount the ISO file from your computer when you're doing this, because now it's done with the installation. It took no time at all. And now it wants me to remove the installation disk before reboot. That means that I have to get off my lazy ass and go out into my data center, remove the USB stick and come back in here. Well, it's a tough job being a system administrator, right? So we have to pause the video here and get off our ass and remove that USB stick. So here it is. It has been magically removed. So we can continue this by pressing enter and the server will reboot and start ESXi for the first time. If I have set up the boot order correct, which I don't think I have yet, so we might have to go into the BIOS and fix that. So let's I'll see you in the BIOS. I've booted and we are in the BIOS, and to set the boot order, well, there are some start options here. So right now it's booting from CD-ROM, hard drive and PXE network. We're gonna change that. I don't want it to boot from CD or network, because the network, that takes a long time. So let's go into the boot manager and we are gonna delete some boot options here. So we're gonna go in there and we're gonna select that one and that one and commit changes. There. Did it do that? It's still working on it. Okay. So now there's only the hard drives left, which is kind of, I'm not gonna be booting from those, but well, so we're gonna add a boot option, and that would be the USB thing. Let's see what we get here. We have full path options, platform specific boot device. Oh, I've never seen that before. Let's try and see what this is. Here we get the embedded hypervisor down there. That would be fun. See if that will work. Okay, I've apparently added that. There is also USB storage. Okay, we will see if the embedded hypervisor is what we needed. So exit. I want to see this. Okay, so that's the very advanced stuff down here. We have some. Oh, we have a lot of USB devices that it has the embedded hypervisor thing right there. So I could have selected that as well. Let's see if the one that I have added isn't good enough. So we'll go in and change the boot order, because right now hard drives are on the top. So we will change that. We'll take the hypervisor and we will press the plus button to move that up and press enter to confirm changes. Yes, embedded hypervisor is now on top, and press escape and press escape, and I'll save these changes and we'll try and boot and see if it boots our ESXi. Save changes, save settings, there, and exit setup, and it will be booting, and I'll get back to you if this works. Otherwise I'll see you in the BIOS again. Well, we are in the BIOS, which will tell you that this did not work. See the start options here, hard drive and embedded hypervisor. Boot manager. Let's delete that embedded hypervisor again. There, commit changes. There, escape. Let's add a boot option. Let's try and go down and take one of these physical present devices. And right now it sees the USB 1 storage right there. So I'm guessing that should be good to select that. We can give it a name. So we will call it internal USB. And nothing happened. Maximum 6 letters. See if that will do it. I'll try this and I'll see you back in the BIOS if it did not work, and we'll see it booting if it does work. Okay, that gave just the last little bit. It seems to be trying to boot. It's damn slow right now. I have no idea why this is taking so long. It's usually just up there and down here. So, well, I hope this is not that slow. Oh, now this seems normal. Okay, let's see if this is okay. I'm hoping so. Okay, that booted just fine. ESXi is up and running. I'm a bit uncertain if this is the version 2. I think it usually says U2 up here, but I'm not totally sure. I would have to look some more into that. But that doesn't really matter. It's the same procedure for both of them. But in the meanwhile, when I was bored and waiting for this, I was looking at USB sticks to put inside a server and to get a really fast one, even though this server only comes with USB 2.0. I was looking into USB 3.0 and even the 3.1 up here, and you can get some really neat one like 128 gigabytes for not that big an amount of money, but I only need 4 gigabytes. So I was looking at something like this, 16 gigabytes, really fast. I don't know if they brag about how fast this would be. Probably not, but 16 gigs would be more than enough, so that would be cool. The only thing I didn't like about that one is that it has a metal casing. So when you're fiddling around with it in a server, if you should happen to drop this into the server, it could potentially short circuit something, and that's a really bad thing. So something like this with plastic around it would, I think, would be preferable. So there is a much bigger chance that if you drop this, the plastic, let's see, actually it's this little thing here, that's the USB stick with the black thing here, and then there's a plastic protection something there. Okay, so something of plastic and not as much metal, I think would be good.
So I got my good server up and running on not this USB stick, but the little plastic one inside, which is really awesome for this. I don't even have one that I can show you right now because it's inside the server. So, well, I'm probably gonna be upgrading this server soon. CPU is on the way, riser card is on the way, and probably I'm gonna shop for a faster USB key as well, USB stick. These little USB keys, they have a lot of names, flash drives, keys, the list goes on and on. So more videos will be coming on this. I will also have to upgrade to the ESXi 6. Lenovo does their own custom image for these, but they haven't done the 6.5 yet, as it looks like. I was not able to find it, and I found someone asking about it, and that was not that long ago. So I was actually thinking about installing this one, which is a Lenovo image, and then upgrading that in hopes of that it would not override the Lenovo drivers that is on this one, so it would still be working. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. Join me over at Google Plus, where I post pictures of what I'm up to and stuff like that. So have a really nice day. Bye bye.